expectativas, un anuncio fundamental. Les han mandado por correo electrónico una encuesta. Necesitamos, por favor, que la llenen. Nos van a ayudar muchísimo porque es una herramienta que a nosotros nos da feedback para hacer el quinto congreso de manera mucho más efectiva, eficiente, siempre con valor, que es lo que siempre le preocupa a Touch cada año. Así que, por favor, ayúdennos con eso. El segundo anuncio, yo me olvidé cuál es el segundo anuncio, Carlos.
Entonces, la presentación.
Ajá, las presentaciones van a estar a disposición de todos. Gracias a la gentileza de los speakers, van a estar a disposición de todos. Así que, por favor, ayúdenos con las encuestas. Para finalizar, quiero presentarles a Cory Henke. Cory va a hacer una charla sobre Video Analytics and Importance of Creative Optimization. Vamos a entender justamente cómo generar valor a través del video. Y quiero decirles que Cory es el fundador de Variable Media, que es una agencia analítica y creativa enfocada en las plataformas de anuncios de Facebook y Google, que fue fundada a principios del 2017. Cory además escribe y presenta una variedad de temas sobre YouTube, Facebook y el creciente panorama social desde una perspectiva de medios pagados. Además ha dirigido el departamento de análisis y medios de Molio Inc., una organización pionera en espacios publicitarios de YouTube. Una frase que puede describir a Cory es: nadie dijo que el éxito iba a ser fácil, y la verdad que no lo es. Así que aprovechen a Cory, este es el capo del YouTube, así que si alguien está pensando en estrategias de video, esta es la oportunidad de prestar atención. Espero que se hayan tomado 3 cafés para reactivarse, porque de esta charla no se la pueden perder. Cory, welcome, nice to meet you, y el sitio es absolutamente tuyo. Palmas, por favor, para Cory.
Thank you, Peru. I'm super excited to be here. It's my first time here, and more importantly, I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today. That's video analytics and creative optimization. So, yeah. So, for today's agenda, what are we going to talk about today? The first thing that we're going to look at is kind of like the video landscape, where everything is today when it comes to video. The next thing that we'll jump into, and what I think is the best place to serve video, that is YouTube. We'll talk about some of the new features and where I think you can really gain value. And then the second section, this is where we're going to have some fun. This is the case studies. And so in the case study section, we're going to watch some video, which I think is going to be really exciting. And then in the last section, I really want to focus on Instagram and some final thoughts, because that, I think, is probably where we're seeing a lot of the big value from our clients today. So when we look at this image, right, I think the big thing that I want you guys to take away from this is look how everybody's focused on the fighters, right? This is a very old picture, and you see the cameras on the floor, right? Nobody in the back has a camera. It's a very unique picture that really looks at what it used to look like. And when I think about advertising, it was all about attention, right? Scale, I'm sorry. How do I get more people into this room? How do I pack it in there? How do I reach as many people as possible? But if we fast forward to today, this is what it looks like. I can't get anybody to go to an event without them bringing their phone, right? And so how do you reach people in a world like this, where everything is at your fingertips? You have to be able to break through the noise. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today, is that in this attention-based society, like how do you break through the noise? So when we think about the video landscape, I mostly focus on these three properties. And I focus here because of these reasons: the targeting, the scale, the reach, the viewability, the bidding models, the vertical video, the different types of video I can run. There are other platforms out there, and we do have to think about those. And I think they work for certain advertisers. Certain advertisers that need to go B2B and be on LinkedIn. Certain advertisers that need to reach a younger demographic, so they go on Snapchat. Or if they're more female focused, that might be on Pinterest. But I can find so many reasons not to use those platforms and why I should use Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And again, just so you guys know, I own my own agency. About 80% of our business comes from e-commerce. And so that's why we also focus on these three platforms specifically. I want us to think for a second, right? And when we think about these 2 or 3 platforms, right? Like think about what you go to YouTube for versus what you go to Facebook and Instagram for, right? Like think about that. Think about those user experiences. This is how I view them, right? When we go to YouTube, we go there to watch video. And it's very similar to something like TV, where you have long form, you're going to watch something for a longer period of time. Versus something like Facebook and Instagram, where it's like a slot machine, right? I don't know what's coming next. Is it my grandma's photo? Is it an A4 ad? Is it my friend's post? You know, like what is coming next? It's literally a slot machine to go. And we don't know why we go there. We just know we've had valuable experiences. So when we continue to think about this user experience in both these platforms, I think we have to deal with 2 types of user experiences. The first type is lean back, right? Like when we watch YouTube, it's very similar to Netflix or TV, where we're in a lean back mode. We're sitting against a chair, we're in bed, but we're watching something in a very lean back environment. When I think about this position, we don't make many decisions like this. We go to sleep like this, we chill like this, we hang out like this. But when we think about lean forward, when we're working, when we're eating, when we're paying for something, this is the same type of motion that you have when you're on Facebook or when you're on Instagram. And that's why I think it's so much more conducive to garnering a conversion, to generating a conversion on Facebook and Instagram versus something like YouTube. It's the user experience of leaning back versus leaning forward. And so let's think about that this entire presentation as we go through. So another big thing I want to point out, and Fernando mentioned this in his talk earlier about YouTube and that 30-second pay, right? You only pay for users after 30 seconds. On YouTube, that happens at 3 seconds, 10 seconds, and now they have through play. And the through play really allows them to serve ads to users that are able to watch video for longer periods of time. But in my opinion, the Facebook user is very different from the YouTube user. That YouTube user wants to watch video for a longer period of time. And if you're a brand, if you're a new brand, if you're trying to cut through the noise, if you're a startup, that's probably the place to break through and really get your message out there. So when we think about YouTube and we think about that place to focus, I really want us to understand what we're seeing today. This passive environment was built for TV. When that segment ended and you had your commercial break, somebody could take you through a 60-second story, a 120 story, and it would be in a passive viewing environment. That doesn't work today. We have a cell phone. As soon as we see an ad on TV, we're right to our phone. And that's why we need an active viewing environment. And so this is another slide that I want us to think through as we watch videos today, and we understand that this active viewing environment is extremely important when creating video. So, what I think is the most valuable impression on the web is 0 to 30 seconds on YouTube. And I'm hoping that this talk will get you guys to believe in YouTube a little bit more, use the platform, and ultimately make it valuable. So, this slide I think people really love when I put this in presentations, because it gives you guys a great understanding of how to use that 30 seconds, right? I want to hook and engage at the beginning, right? First 5 seconds, like really get you going, fast cuts. And then I want to illustrate the problem, solve the problem with the brand or the service, but this is the kicker, guys. Qualifying the audience, targeting the audience within the creative. That is the kicker, right before you pay for that user. So what do I mean by that? This simple chart will show you that females, I can pay 1 cent for. But if I want a mom with kids, I'm going to be paying 4 cents for them, right? And so if I don't want to pay that premium for that mom with kids, then I'm going to go after females, but I'm going to use the creative to target. And so I'm going to show you a video in this next slide, and I want you to think about like how I'm targeting females, but I really only want moms to stay past 30 seconds. And so when we look at this creative, think about these aspects of it. Think about when the logo comes in, think about what happens in those first 5 seconds, and think about all the product placement that you see, as well as the call to action at the end. So that video that we're going to watch when it comes back up here, it went through about 75 different versions. We cut this thing up so many different ways to make sure that it was perfect for people we're going to target. And so understand that this video right here has been through a lot of different optimization with some of those key creative moments that I'm pulling up here.
As an addict, I've seen, and I mean all. One thing I know about a cold is that tissue, paper towel, or even your sleeve are all savage on your little one's skin, especially if you're wiping 20, 30, or even 40 times a day. It's like sandpaper on your baby's nose. That was before one brilliant mom brought home Boogie Wipes. Boogie Wipes are the first natural saline nose wipes invented by mums for kids, and they're patented. Unlike other wipes, Boogie Wipes have no harsh or drying chemicals. Their natural saline dissolves mucus without irritation, and thanks to aloe, vitamin E, and chamomile, instead of annoyed, skin feels moisturized. Pampered even. Look, at the end of the day, your children will get sick. They're kids after all. But take it from someone who's had quite a few children. You can prepare yourself for the worst and provide them with the best. They're all I use, and I do have a reputation to uphold. Make wiping your little one's nose a much less painful experience. Click here to get Boogie Wipes today. Like Boogie Wipes? Try our sterile.
So what we did with that ad is we were able to target females for 1 cent, but we knew that only moms would stay past 30 seconds. And so again, we're qualifying with the creative. But more importantly, this slide represents that every aspect of your video should be looked at. When does the brand come in? Is the logo on the product? Where is that logo? All that stuff matters, how it affects your view rate, and then also how it affects, your branding. Your brand lift. So when we think about creating video, there's 3 things that I think are most important. The medium to close shot and face the crowd, as you saw in the previous video, right? You saw how close she was. You saw how direct she was. You saw that if you were looking at this on a mobile phone, you could probably tell what was going on. And then also, when you think about building for YouTube, engage, entertain, or inspire, or educate, right? It's what people come to YouTube for. It's what we should get back to them when they see our ad. So, YouTube has gone through some changes, and I'm going to walk you through some of the cool video analytics that they allow you to do. And so right now, what you're seeing is as the video plays, you're looking at drop-off rates. That's where the user drops off by age, and then by device. And so, as you look at that, this is a great way to give feedback back to the creative on what's working and what's not working. Now we know what age and what device works best for our videos. Another great tool that we have is the ability to start to look at different moments. When the logo comes in, when the product comes in, when we say this, when we say that. And we can now calculate these things. These type of charts, this type of insight is so good for creative teams. As they build your creative, they want that feedback back. And this is a great way to be able to look at feedback, to look at where things are, and to see where that drop-off is. Where are we losing the user's interest? So, another new feature that YouTube has is the ad sequence. And this is great for telling a story. So in this instance, we're going to start with the problem, right? And this is kind of our hero video that we're going out with and reaching you for the first time. And now a user has a choice. Does the user stay past 30 seconds? Or do they hit that 5-second skip button? We have a different video for when that happens. If a user skips, I want to go directly to pain points. Does your back hurt? Are you having trouble sleeping? Do you have headaches, right? I want to get into exactly what the problem is if they skip my ad. But if they viewed it, now I want to say, hey, is my brand right for you? Here are brand pillars. Do they align with what you think is issue? Right? Now, if they viewed my first one and then they became an impression, they didn't make it past 30 seconds, right? This is where I go back to being funny. This is where I go back to being entertaining. I need to bring them back. There was something about my brand messaging that didn't work, so let me give them another video to bring them right back. And this is YouTube's ad sequencing. Very good if you have a couple of videos that you need to tell a story with. So, another new feature is the home feed. If you remember at the beginning of my presentation, I talked about lean back versus lean forward. And this is the first time, and I've been waiting for this for probably about 3 or 4 years, where you have YouTube allowing you to place in-feed ads. And we're going to come up on a movie ad, we're going to press it, and then we're going to see the video play. But this is such an amazing ad unit to get somebody into a lean forward, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm watching something and I'm leaning back. This ad is so new. We're just testing it right now. It's very hacky. It's very difficult to try to implement. And so I have how to implement here. There's also an image down there that you can look at, which is really good. But the key aspects of this is just, one-click video experience, cost and reach, and then you have all the same targeting aspects that you have with many of the other ad units. So you get the targeting along with just a new ad unit that's a lean forward and a lean back, type of user experience. It's something really good to test, and we're working on it right now. So now that we've learned a little bit about YouTube, a little bit about user experience, a little bit about video, we're going to get into the case studies and start to put the meat on the bones. This is where I really show you the brands that I've worked with and how they've affected me and my opinions and how I represent video today. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the creative view rate analysis. And I'm going to show you 6 different 30-second segments. And as you guys are watching these videos, I want you to think about which one drove the best view rate, okay? Now, when you make it past 30 seconds on YouTube, that's called a view. Anything below 30 seconds, even if you skip an ad, you're considered an impression. If you take the views and you divide them by the impressions, that gives you your view rate. And so as you watch these videos, I want you to think about which one of these videos drove the highest view rate. Which one of these videos drove users to stay past 30 seconds? Holy.
Oh, spicy? Sip the coconut soda water, honey. Seriously, before we started saving money with Ibotta, we never would have just ordered the poke, bone marrow, and blistered shishito peppers. He's just being dramatic. Okay, that was a cheat. But we love to try new restaurants. It makes us feel rich, but we are in debt. Luckily, I downloaded the Ibotta app, and we've been getting real money back on all the other stuff we buy in real life. Which you like better? We're going to a gluten-free tasting party tonight. Definitely black. Ooh, vegan fusion Korean tapas. Everyone's always like, Ray, how can you afford to go out? The trick is I'm always saving money now. Always. Ibotta makes it so easy for me to get cash. All I have to do is unlock rebates in my Ibotta app, verify my purchase in my savings show, just like that.
If you're self-employed, you're probably keeping track of the miles you drive so you can write them off on your taxes. If you're using pen and paper or some other method to track your miles, you're likely losing money. When you miss tracking just one trip, you lose up to $5 or more. Don't make the mistake of not tracking your miles. Get Mile IQ. It's an app that puts money back in your pocket. Whenever you get in your car and drive, it automatically, by itself, detects, logs, and calculates your miles. You don't need to do anything. At the end of the year, you have all the information you need in an IRS-compliant report. So how does Mile IQ automatically track your miles? The app uses smart drive detection technology to create a drive log on your smartphone. Just turn it on once, and Mile IQ does all the work. You never have to
Go ahead and live there. I used to think that because I was a figure, I could have everything. Then I downloaded Latam. It set me down my life path. Turns out my life path is winning prizes in cash. Would have thought that a free app could manifest my very, very expensive lifestyle.
The universe. She works in mysterious ways.
She does indeed, you're right. At first, getting something for nothing felt like stealing. But the more I won, the more I realized that my good luck wasn't just luck, it was my good karma coming back to me. Winning stuff was my destiny. So yeah, help me out here. You too could find your true calling. Just download Lucktastic from the App Store and start playing free games and entering contests to realize your destiny.
It's so great to be able to pull out your phone and capture a beautiful video of your family. But then what happens to it?
There's great options like prints and photo books for your photos, but there isn't anything for videos. You work hard to document your family memories, but if you're like us, they sit on the phone or in the cloud, collecting dust, and then they're forgotten.
And then when you share it, everybody has to watch it on a little phone screen instead of together as a family. That's why we created Yours.com. Using the Yours.com app, you select your favorite videos and photos. These are securely uploaded and run.
This is Dave. Dave was supposed to buy tickets for him and his friends to go to the game tonight. Dave did buy tickets for tonight's game, then left them in the printer, over an hour away. Now Dave and his friends are in a pretty bad place. Paper tickets. Rookie mistake. Dave should have just used Game Time. Game Time is the fastest way to buy tickets to live events with your friends. You can buy the perfect seats in seconds, and tickets are delivered directly to your phone, so you always have them with you. Download Game Time free on the App Store, and you'll instantly see a curated list of the best upcoming events in your area. Game Time sorts through thousands of available seats on the market and presents you with only the 50 best values, not an impossibly long list of choices. Plus, all of them.
So, how many people think number one drove the best view rate? By show of hands. Anybody for number one? Anybody for number two? Anybody for number three? Anybody for number four? About five? We got a lot for number five. Okay. Here are the results. Now, the big thing that I want you to understand is that if you can create a view rate of 61%, look what it does to your CPM, and look what it does to your cost per view, right? And that's why it's so important to develop really good creative. That's why it's so important to create multiple variations. And I'll show you on this next slide for that specific video, this is what it looked like. We tested a 60, we tested two 15s, we tested a long form at 224, we tested a 30, and then as Fernando mentioned earlier with the bumper at 6 seconds, right? We tested that as well. And what you see is that if I've got a 64% view rate, I've got 43% of people staying to the end of my 2-minute and 24 video. That's never going to happen on Facebook. And so this is kind of the power of what you see on YouTube. But even when you look at the CPC at $1.25, it's better than every single other type of app. And so when you try to do the comparison of like, okay, which one should I run? I have to run the long form. There's no getting around it. I have to run that long form. It is such a power, it's proven to be such a powerful unit already. So we're going to look at another case study. And this again is for an app. I'm going to have to watch one of these ads again. I'm sorry, but we'll do the same thing. We're going to compare these 3 different ads. And this was an ad for an app called Ibotta. This app saves you money at the grocery store by allowing you to do a digital type of coupon. And so what we wanted to do is run these 3 different ads. We wanted to run a family version, a personal version, and then a social version. And so after I show you these 3 videos, I want you to think, which one drove the lowest cost per install? And so instead of looking at view rate and who's staying past 30 seconds, I want to now know the action, right? Like which drove the best cost per install after looking at these 3 ads.
Oh, good, careful of the phone. No phone means no Ibotta, which means no cash back on almost everything I buy. Dude, seriously? I've never been a coupon clipper, but it's nice to save because things are always coming up. Like when my two BFFs decided to get pregnant at the same time. What am I, a baby shower factory? Luckily, I downloaded the Ibotta app and started getting actual money back. Red or the black? It's date night. Better go with the black. Ooh, ultraviolet diaper cleaning kit. Everyone's always like, Britt, how do you manage? The trick is I'm always saving money now. Always. Ibotta makes it so easy for me to get extra cash. All I have to do is unlock rebates on my iPhone, verify my purchases, and the savings show up just like that. Hi, Everly, look at your beautiful mural. Mommy's wall. Little front. That's why I'm always checking Ibotta now. Ibotta is the free, super simple, money-saving app that gets you cash back on things you buy. Okay guys, I'm stuck. I've been using Ibotta like crazy and I'm getting all this extra cash, not points, real money back on things I buy every day anyway, and it's so easy. Yeah, see the problem now? College fund for Everly? Just for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm thrilled I downloaded the Ibotta app. Life changer, but I didn't have this many problems and I didn't have so much extra cash. Seriously, I never would have ordered my BFF a pre-baby shower gift. I swear, everyone's having babies all around me. Red or the black? We're going out tonight. Definitely the black. Ooh, a baby-scented candle. Everyone's always like, Britt, how do you manage? The trick is I'm always saving money now. Always. Ibotta makes it so easy for me to get extra cash. I just unlock rebates in my Ibotta app, verify my purchase, and my savings show up just like that. Hi, Everly, look at your beautiful mural all over Mommy's wall. Little Rembrandt. That's why I'm always using Ibotta. Ibotta is the free, super simple, money-saving app that gets you cash back on things you buy.
Holy.
Oh, spicy? Sip the coconut soda water, honey. Seriously, before we started saving money with Ibotta, we never would have just ordered the poke, bone marrow, and blistered shishito peppers. He's just being dramatic. Okay, that was cheap, but we love to try new restaurants. It makes us feel rich, but we are in debt. Luckily, I downloaded the Ibotta app, and we've been getting real money back on all the other stuff we buy in real life. Which you like better? We're going to a gluten-free tasting party tonight. Definitely black. Ooh, vegan fusion Korean tapas. Everyone's always like, wait, how can you afford to go out? The trick...
I won't make you guys watch the rest of them. But when we think about the results, right? We saw the first one, family, followed by personal, and then after that, social. How many think family drove the best cost per install? One person. Okay. How many think personal drove the best cost per install? Okay. And how many think social drove the best cost per install? It was social. And it beat out the CPI, the cost per install, by almost 50%. But what I want you to focus on is this was the difference here. And the CTI is going to be your click to install ratio. And what ratio did people install versus click, right? And your CPC is going to be your cost per click, your CPI is going to be your cost per install, your view rate, your CTR is your click-through rate, your CPV is your cost per view. What you see is that I've got a click to install percentage of 21%, right? But that same ad has the highest CPC, right? So how does that work? The thing is I touched them here. Like I melted their heart with that ad. And that's how I showed them the data. Is that those other two had better CPCs, but they didn't install at the same ratio. And so what was it about social that made people convert at such a high propensity, right? And so let's take this another layer deeper. And when you look at these two bottom charts, focus on the parent versus non-parent, right? And when you think about a family version, look how it did better than personal for the parent. And then when you look at non-parents, look at how personal did better. But regardless of parent versus non-parent, social wins out. But it's so awesome to unlock this data and to be able to say, okay, now I know more about consumers. Because when we think about running video, I think we get a little scared. It's going to cost too much, to build the creative. It's going to cost too much to run the ads. Yeah, but I think that we only think about the advertising aspect of it. We don't think about how many data points that we're going to get about our users to help us build better ads. That's really the key in running video. And so this is kind of looking at a week over week and how we were able to take the CPI from 19 all the way down to 8. And as we begin testing, those last 2 weeks jumped up a little bit, but never back to the levels that they were in week 1. And so when we think about telling that story, I showed you guys 3 different versions. And when you guys build your creative, make sure that you're doing the same thing. Variation is so important today because we have the analytics to look at it. What's the engagement rate? What's the conversion rate? These different things help us understand our videos so much better. So our next case study, we're going to look at a brand that we're currently invested in. It's a reading program for children, ages 4 to 7. And then we're targeting primarily moms 25 to 34 with this ad. And so I'm just going to show you the one ad and also talk a little bit about what we did to scale this brand as they launched last year in April. And a big thing that I want you guys to focus on is look at those first 30 seconds. Look at the text pop-ups that happen. And then contrast the characters that are also in this video.
Mom, I need a costume today. But at the beginning of the day, I'm not so sure. Mom, are we late? Yeah, faster than we late. They got tight kids. We're coming in tight. We work really hard to give our kids everything they need to succeed, but the mom guilt is real. But I got rid of my mom guilt. Because I taught my kids how to read before they entered kindergarten, and the rest just kind of takes care of itself. Mommy, what does fire lane mean? It means mommy's gonna have to flirt with a nice police officer later, which I am really not dressed to. Oh, going to the gym today? Yes. I am definitely going to the gym today. Did I mention I'm supposed to bring a healthy treat? I didn't. Neither did he. Ta-da! All the helpful apps like Pinterest and Instagram just make us feel like we're not doing enough. Did somebody say Insta? But guess what? None of us has it all together, not even her. But if we do all the right things, then the rest is in there. 2,000 likes. Yay! If you really want your kids to succeed in life, all you have to do is teach them the difference between right and wrong and how to read. And teaching them to read is easy and fun with learning dynamics. I mean, I taught my kids how to read before they went to kindergarten. Oh, honey, what is that? But it says non-toxic. According to one study, reading ability is more important than IQ and early learning retention. Take that, Einstein. Wow! With learning dynamics, it takes only 15 minutes every other day. And in 4 weeks, your kids can be reading their first books or your money back. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is it the school's job to teach my kids how to read? That's right, in the school and with the professional staff.
Every part here at the time, just so proud.
Now, I love this teacher, but she has to make over 3 little monsters for 7 hours a day, and on her salary, if she can keep them all in line, she's a freaking hero. My mommy says you're a freaking hero. Oh, your mommy is so smart. Teachers are awesome, but nobody cares about your kids the way they can do. And 75% of kids in schools across America need below grade level. But since you finished the Learning Dynamics training program, read a full year above grade level.
So, what I really want to show you with this case study is that is our hero video. That is the video that we go out to reach users for the first time, right? And that's this video right here. It's got the most views, but that's what we go out with. Then, once that user decides to engage, they decide to watch another video on our YouTube, they decide to stay past 50%, they decide to click, that's when I hit them with the engagement retargeting. That's when I start to get into, okay, how about this book? What about how to use the book, how to blend? And then, if that doesn't work, or they get to my website or they add it to the cart, that's when I bring in the endorsements. The endorsements by the parents, also the endorsements by the owner. And so again, there's an entire video strategy. And while I just showed you the hero video, I also have those other videos to retarget with. So, what do the results look like? The first 3 columns you're going to see are Facebook. Cost per view at 3 seconds, cost per view at 10 seconds, and cost per view at 30 seconds. And those are the costs. And then you also have the cost for tribute. But you can see that I spent $10K on YouTube and I got 1 conversion. But I spent $50K on Facebook and I got 260 conversions. It's interesting, right? But it goes back to that whole lean back versus lean forward, right? But there's one thing about this case study that I think is super special and what really launched this brand. And that is sentiment. That is conversation. And so, What you're seeing here is you have Kimberly at the top. And what she says is, hey, my son's 11, but he's struggling with reading. We say, hey, our program's really not for 11-year-olds, it's just a little too old, we're sorry. And then Isla jumps in and she says, Kimberly, I struggled with the same thing. Here's what I've done to help me with that same issue. What? This is crazy. They're having a conversation on an ad. They bookmarked an ad on Facebook they're going back to and now talking to each other. This is what is special about Facebook. The conversations. These are mothers helping each other out. I couldn't believe it. But I think this sold more of the product than us building that video, if you wanted my honest opinion. So, it gets better, right? Tracy's I'm holding my breath for another 20%, right? Amanda says it's on sale, Tracy comes back 2 weeks later. Amanda, thanks. I just ordered. I actually paid $85 and I used this code. They're sharing codes on these ads now. It's like a hangout. It's almost like a group. I've created a group inside of this ad. And then this one I love the most because you got Kristen at the top saying I'm on day 2. And then they come in and they say, well, does it work? She says, I'm still working on it, come back later. Literally, 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, 4 days later, any new updates? The conversation, I think, is the power of Facebook. I really do. And I think if you can create content that starts this conversation, you're going to have some really good ads. Facebook's going to like you more, they're going to charge you less for it, but ultimately you're going to be able to build a brand. And that's what we did here. We launched this brand in April of last year. By August, we were doing over 100K. And I don't want to just say it was the video. I don't want to just say it was the Facebook sentiment in the comments. We also changed the price. We had some influencers posts that did very well. But I also want to give you the raw data behind launching a brand with just video. That's all that we had. This thing was nothing before we launched it. And now it's something today. And so, super proud of this case study. We've watched a lot of video, and I've showed you a lot of video, and I want to give you the tools that I use to really analyze video. I've showed you a lot of numbers, and so this next case study looks at a planner and a notebook brand. They're an e-commerce brand. They launched maybe a year and a half ago, but they just wanted to do paid advertising last year in October. And so e-commerce brand, you can only convert on the desktop. You can't even convert on a mobile device for this product. And they wanted to run Facebook advertising for the first time. And so here are a few of their creatives. Again, video, but not high production, not 50K video. These are story ads, right? And I call this the Facebook case study because what does Facebook always say? How many times have we heard this, right? All placements, campaign budget optimization, broad audiences. The whole thing comes back to giving Facebook more control. And I'm going to show you in this case study how we did the opposite. This dashboard is something that we built in Power BI, and I'm going to show you how it helped us analyze the data. And so as you're looking through this, I want you to focus on the stories versus the newsfeed, Instagram versus Facebook, the funnel, and then also the metrics that we analyzed. And so as this video plays, you'll notice that I have the funnel strategy here. Top, mid, and low funnel, platform, Facebook, and Instagram, placement, stories, and newsfeed. And then in the middle, we'll have the dates. I'll change these to weeks. And then we have a small table at the bottom showing you results. And then on the right, you've got audience data. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down by week so I can show you each week of analysis. So you'll see in week 1, what we do is we've got all placements in week 1. Now, look at the difference, right? The majority is in the newsfeed. The majority is in Facebook. I'm letting Facebook handle the controls right now. I can see a little bit of performance difference with the story ads, but nothing crazy yet. As we get into week 2, my story CPM drops to $4. My CPC is at 20 cents. And it's also the best performer. Why would I not break this out away from all placements? I'm beginning to see the value. So then we jump to week 3, and it gets even better. I've broken out stories. You can see that stories make up the majority, and I've reached over 756,000 people for $2,000 at a $3 CPM. 4th week gets even better, and I'm spending more there. $7,000, I've reached 2.4 million people. My CPC is still 30 cents. Facebook continues to put the placements together. No, I'm breaking stories out. I see the value. And again, it comes back to that whole thing about picking conversions, right, as an objective. What about reach? Where's the secondary, goal? And you can see again, down to $1, right, in that week, reaching 4 million people with $5,000. It's just unheard of. And so I have to maximize that opportunity. And then when you just look at stories, again, you can see a nice funnel to the right, where you're looking at the audience return on ad spend, interested behavior, lookalikes, my web person's engagement, retargeting. So the core of the golden coil story, like anything else, is to really analyze your data, look at your primary as well as your secondary goals, and then pivot where appropriate. Like, make sure you're making that optimization. But you can see with the Google Trends that we really launched this brand due to the amount of reach that we have. We reached so many people that this thing just took off. And I can tell you we're still seeing residual from this campaign, even in May. So a big thing that we've been focusing on recently is Instagram. And how do we make video there? You've got square, you've got vertical, you've got some great opportunities on Instagram. But it's really these 4 regions, right? The newsfeed, IGTV, stories, and IG Live. And when you think about your Instagram strategy, how do you really maximize those 4 things? How do you do it? And so one thing is to combine paid with organic, right? Promote your ads within the app. That's important to get that education, that learning. Analyze your placements. Where am I getting the value? The newsfeed or the stories? And make sure you retarget people who engage with your ads. If they engage with your ads, that's so much more important than saying, oh, they fall into this interested behavior. Who's got better data? When you see an engagement, or are you going to let Facebook just make a decision based on old data? I don't know. And then when it comes to your organic strategy, really think about, how many stories you can get out there a week. It's where we go first. There's only 24 hours with those stories. It's where we go. How many people have been on Instagram today? I'm sure everybody. So I like to show this table to really try to get into the minds of everybody that says, well, I don't know what to do on Instagram, right? There's so much that you can do. It reminds me of search in 2000, where you're just getting more options and more options and more options and more options. And so what I want you to do with this slide is to be able to say, okay, I have an idea of some content that I want to create. Here's what I can do outside of just video and photo. Right? How do I tag stuff? What are some IG Live ideas? So I also want to give you an example of a competitor to one of my mattress brands, and they did a partnership. But what you can see that in these 8 steps, they give you an experience. And I really want you guys to wrap your head around this, right? I showed you guys a lot of high content videos that cost a lot of money, right? But when we compare them to something like this, how do you know which one's a better experience? This cost a fraction of what a lot of those videos that I showed you earlier did. But how do we know which one is providing more value, right? We have to test those things. But even this is possible, like that question that came up earlier, that said hey, what do I do if I don't have the content? If I can't afford a 50K video? Well, you get creative. You get really creative. So, in conclusion, as we close things out, what would be the constant in digital advertising? I think for all of us, we know this, right? Everything is going to change. This presentation is going to be worthless next year because everything literally changes. Which platform would I start my video journey on, right? You guys heard me talk a lot about YouTube, but in my opinion, it's Instagram and Facebook because you get so much more variation, right? I can run rectangle in the Facebook newsfeed. I can run square in the Instagram newsfeed. I have a chance to do vertical video. I can test so many different things, and in my opinion, the targeting on Facebook is a lot better in comparison to Google, especially when using the lookalike model, as Michelle mentioned. The most valuable impression on the web, I think, is a toss-up now. I know in the beginning I said it was YouTube, but now I don't know if it's a YouTube True ad or if it's a story ad. And then, if we're going to create video, what type of video should we create? I get that question a lot. What video should I create? The product demonstration. Demo your product to me. Be a consumer. right? Like, if you're going to try to sell me on something, demo the product, show me that it works. And then, remember, if you can take anything away from this presentation, like, remember the user experience, the lean back versus lean forward. Like, when you go home tonight and you watch TV, or you turn on YouTube, or you go to Facebook to watch content, think about the motions that you're making and what you do during that time. And so, my name is Cory Henke. Started speaking a couple years ago. I own my own agency. We're doing very well. These are a few places that I've either written or spoken at. I think I've gotten all my best work probably on Quora. And thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Cory. Can you stay with me, please? Bueno, charlas hasta los dashboards están espectaculares. La magia, mirar esto, ¿no? ¿Alguna pregunta que tengan para Cory, por favor? En inglés, en español, en quechua, ahora que estamos viendo retablo. ¿Han visto retablo? No. Vayan al cine a ver retablo, esto es muy bueno. Acá tenemos una pregunta. De experto a experto, además.
Okay, hi Cory. I have a question, and it's about the videos that you showed. It's very interesting. Actually, the ones that have the most conversions are the ones that are like first-person kind of videos, one that is speaking directly to the camera. And I've seen that in the last few 6 months, maybe 1 year. Is that the new trend? Is that the thing that's hitting the most, or is it just a passing trend, or is it something that's going to really hit?
I believe it's here to stay. I think if you're trying to sell something to somebody, talk to me like I'm talking to you guys, right? Like I'm engaging with you up here, and I think it's the same exact thing. If you're going to create a video, you want to get somebody's attention, but you also have to be talking to the right people. And so if you remember the Nanny Knows Best in that video, and it was so close, and it was so direct, if I serve that to you or me, I'm skipping, right? So there's audience that has to go with that creative. But the medium to close shot is really for the mobile phone. Like, this is what we have to build for. This is everything. And so that's why it's so important, you know, for that medium to close shot, for somebody to be talking face to camera. I think it'll be here for a while. But as I mentioned, you know, with story ads and being able to tell stories with all these different types of content, that's also very engaging too. And so I think there's more options today versus, you know, what you're talking about was probably at its peak, you know, maybe a year ago, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
¿Alguien más quiere? ¿Ahí hay una pregunta más?
Hey Cory, thanks for talking.
Y veo que es la última pregunta.
Do you have any best practices for choosing a video on a landing page once you've defined any winning ad video creatives?
So, for a landing page, it really depends on the audience, right? Like if it's a custom landing page that I'm sending and I want them to have a specific message, then yeah, I want that video above the fold and I think it should be there. If you're talking about just like a website and I'm just like, hey, I got a video, you know, like where should I put it? Depends on what type of video, what type of content. I mean, it's a hard question to answer, but I think it's important to have it there. Whenever we go to any website, if I can get all the information through a video quickly, I mean that's hyper important to me. So yeah, I think you should definitely add it. The more prominent, the better. You know, definitely above the fold. But if you're going to send it to if you're going to put it on a landing page that is really conducive to a specific topic, category, or genre, then yeah, you should build that video for that. You know, like don't have just simple about our company video on something like a segmented, like targeted land page. Like make sure you have a targeted video for that.
All right, thank you. Despidamos con un fuerte aplauso a Cory. Thank you, Cory. Thank you a lot. Bueno, espero que les haya gustado todo el programa. A mí solamente me queda despedirme sin antes dejar en las palabras finales de despedida a Carlos Rodríguez, CEO de Attach. Así que un último fuerte aplauso y esta vez lo importante de Carlos que hace posible este evento.
Simplemente agradecerles a todos, voy a ser bastante corto porque, bueno, ha sido un día largo, hemos preparado esto desde octubre del año pasado, para unos 9 meses, así que muchas gracias a todos, esperamos verlos el siguiente año.